two teams that have gone head-to-head more times than I care to count. And to be fair, Fury are starting to look a hell of a lot better. You've already kind of put a lot of the stakes up in terms of what this matchup means to both teams, but I probably want to isolate this a little bit further and look toward Fury, Mandy, because ever since stage one, we were expecting them to be the unwanted child of this region, right? We thought, nah, they've had a shocker. We don't think we're going to see them in stage two. We barely think stage three they'll put up a competition. Completely blown us away. And I think maybe some of that credit really needs to go toward the likes of I9 and BG, who have come in and kind of rounded out this roster quite nicely.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Fury, they seem to be on the rise every time that we watch them in APAC South. I feel more impressed with this roster. At first, I really didn't rate their strategy, their structure, but as they've gone through the seasons, they've shown us that they in fact do bot review quite hard, and they've learnt a lot more strategically, and it's gone and shown in the server. Of course, with the addition of I9, just seems to be that entry power that they needed to open up some of these attacking rounds, which is what I felt like this roster was missing beforehand. It just felt like they didn't really have a key into the rounds, but now they do, and as a result, it's really been an X factor to a lot of these APAC South rosters.
Dev, what's crazy is, you know, most remember Napew's name, obviously, from Elevate, and there was a big buzz when we saw that he was coming back. However, to, you know, I would say Elevate's little brother. And as Mandy's alluding to there, like, you know, the opening kills have been quite decent, but one thing that has probably shocked me, I don't know if it's shocked you, has been his KD across, you know, the last two stages. It is not the Napew that we saw, or now I9, that we saw back on Elevate.
Well, Napew is a great player, but it's also important to remember there was a reason why Elevate looked other places to change up their roster, right?
Yep.
Now, Napew has found a home on Fury, and yes, it has helped out the team as a whole. Is he the greatest player ever to touch the game? No. Is he a great player in his own right? Yes. So you can't always rely on him to be the highest in the stats. He tends to be a very unpredictable player, but he's not the most consistent, which I think was the problem that Elevate had with them. So if Napew's having an on day, then you're going to see a lot of opening picks going towards Fury side. You're going to see a lot of early unpredictable aggression. But if Elevate can read into his playstyle, which you would think they should be able to, having played alongside him for such a long amount of time, they may well be able to shut him down. And it's not just the revenge story here for I9, but you've also, of course, got BG Man, who for a long time subbed and played with Elevate, and he's now on that Fury roster as well.
Yeah, and, you know, it's a double-edged sword, right? As we start to look at Elevate and talk about this lineup that has just been otherworldly. I really, there's no other way to say it. In APAC South, they have been the team. Even in APAC, they have been the single shining light in 2022. But, you know, if we were talking about I9 and you know, BG Man and Elevate having a sense of how they play, Mandy, would there be any world in which, you know, Elevate slightly tweak what they would otherwise do, knowing full well that 40% of Fury's roster were former Elevate players?
I would have to say yes. So I just spoke to Elevate yesterday about exactly this. And something that they commented on about their playstyle is that they're very good at reading what their opponents do, not just outside the match, but particularly in the match. They're in their mid-round problem solving and talking between rounds about what they think the behaviors of their opponents are is what sets apart Elevate from, in my opinion, the rest of APAC. And I think coming into this Fury matchup, especially knowing these former players, that's really going to play into the strength of their team structure.
Dev, this is a roster that has proven so much strength, and, you know, Mandy's touched on a great point there, but their current performances outside of APAC South has left a little bit to be desired.
Well, yeah, if you're alluding to the Operation League, yes, the fact that they dropped a game to Fury, and this is a rematch of just 4 days ago, that is a black mark on their record, which you wouldn't usually expect from this team. I can't really guess too much what went on to that game. Obviously, it's a national. It doesn't contribute to, say, this team's placement at going to the major or going to the Six Invitational on points, which is what their sights are set on now. Both of those things they'll get if they get the top two in this league, which I still back them in. That's the bottom line here is what I'm saying. Okay. I think this team is hitting their peak form at the moment. Yes, there might be a little bit of concern. Fury might be in pretty good form, but this is Elevate after all, right? You got Mark and Mr. Punch who came in for stage 1 and have now been fully integrated into being the backbone of this team, giving Onigiri and Sapper the freedom to do what they need to do. And you can see it in the stats, right?
Yeah.
Like the #1 player for rating, KD, and entry, the entire of APAC South right now is Onigiri. The #1 player for KOST, clutches, and plants is Sapper. Like, this is just the best team with the best players in the league.
Certainly are, and there's really only one thing left to do. Really, that is standing between us and this game, and that is finding out what map we're going to be heading to, because that could, well, change some of the discussion that we're going to have here. Mandy, do you think that the veto could really play a massive impact here?
I think that it could, because if Fury are playing on a map that they're comfortable on, it could not be so good. Actually, it's going to be KAFE. Okay, so KAFE, personally, I would back in Elevate to be a little bit better at this one.
Yeah, I mean, Dev, I'm doing the classic hosting and looking at previous results and Elevate good, Fury bad, but it's never as simple as that, is it?
No, well, the thing is for Fury, right? Like, they have played this map and had some close wins and close losses on it. The last 2 times they played it, funnily enough, the most recent time was against Elevate. So these 2 teams played it at the end of July in Operation League.
Yep.
And Elevate only barely won 8-6. You go back one day, the day before that, Fury played it in Operation League and beat Game & Gladiators 8-7. So we've had some good results from Fury. I wouldn't take that away from them. From Elevate, this has always been a staple map of theirs. They did lose it at the Berlin Major to W7M. But that was a strange, slow start to their quarterfinal. I wouldn't put too much weight in that.
Okay.
And we did see them play it last week. We saw the replays earlier where they beat Tide. However, Tide did get 4 rounds off them, which is pretty decent, I'd say. I wouldn't necessarily have expected Tide to get so many rounds. So I would say overall, this is a pretty good map veto for both teams. Elevate's going to be comfy as long as they get a map that they're happy with, which is this. But Fury also very comfortable on this map. So if there's anywhere that they can do it, yeah, I'll give them a crack here.
Are we backing them in to go back-to-back against the Thai Giants here, Mandy? Do we think Fury can get it done on KAFE? This is a very big matchup for them.
I'm actually going to say no to that. I think that Elevate play pretty big off recency bias. I think that when they've just played a map or they've just got that learning process in their head or that problem solving happening in the moment, that is the Elevate that plays the best. It takes them a while to get started, but because they've played it so often recently, I feel like that's the cogs that are turning in their heads right now. And I think as a result, Fury are going to have a pretty tough time on this map.
Well, it's going to be dangerous. We've got 2 of the best teams in APAC South going head-to-head. And to bring you the action, 2 of the best commentators, Xenox and Guts.
So far, Elevate haven't necessarily been tested all that much here in Stage 3. Guz 7-1 against the Knights in Playday 1, and then a largely comfortable victory against Tide as well in Week 2. But of course, as the wonderful desk sort of brought up, it hasn't been all that easy for Elevate outside of APAC South. Obviously losing to Fury just recently. I do wonder if that will make its way here. Is this going to be the first time Elevate really get tested?
Maybe I'll be. For me, though, this is probably the most exciting match of the evening. Both teams arguably close to, if not at, the peak of their powers currently. So intrigued to see if Elevate continue that run and very close behind in that second position, looking to really bolster their season or their stage as well. So it should be a lot of fun. Takes place on KAFE once more, the stage in which they played off against each other last time. And more importantly, we saw Elevate play it last week. I'm not totally convinced Elevate played that really well. They did a good job in being able to eventually stabilize and close it out, but for the most part, they were challenged, and I think Fury is going to be a much more challenging opponent than Tide was.
Yeah, we obviously got to see them take Tide on KAFE last week. It was the first half that really maybe threw out some surprises. 4 rounds to Elevate in the attacking half. That was the biggest factor at the time. Tide did have, I think, a couple of rounds in the middle portion of that map where they did sort of even up the scoreline until Elevate ran away with it on the defense. Havana, Nook taken off the board for the attacking bands as we head over to the defending bands. Probably not expecting too much craziness here. Last time out, Elevate actually took off the Valkyrie, so I'm probably expecting that here on KAFE once again. Pretty much stock standard kind of ban as well, so would be very surprised to not see it come out, and there you go.
Pretty good from you. Not bad.
Well, to be fair,
with a fun fact.
It is probably like 90% ban rate on KAFE, even after the nerfs.
100%. We'll see what the final ban here for Fury ends up being. Probably anticipating a mirror. Pretty versatile on this map, but could be something else. And in fact, will actually be the mute. So that's intriguing. Trying to deny Elevate a lot of information on entry. And when you think on sites like top floor, for example, where just getting your drone up to the top floor can be a real challenge, nevertheless, actually getting additional information can be very, very tough. You add the mute on top of that would have made things difficult. So instead, they'll ban it out. So it should actually make it easier, retracting my first point. But anyway, we move on. Third floor, we do begin. Azami will be in play. That's probably the key thing to keep in mind. She offers a lot of versatility on a lot of different parts of this map. KAFE is a map where you need to be hunkering down and holding power positions. Azami with those keeper barriers facilitates it.
Yeah, and I think one thing to keep in mind here, Elevate attacking first, right? We obviously saw them come out and do really, really well in the first half last week. 4-2 attacking half on a map that, you know, historically has generally favored defenders. Part of that, though, you would say is down to just the meta in general. Attackers having a better time of things at the moment, especially with attacker repick. But Elevate's attack was quite clean. They were able to really ham in Tide on the defense, who, in all fairness, their bad rounds, Tide, were the kind of rounds where they weren't aggressive. They were sitting back on site. They were allowing Elevate to get through their checklist really, really quickly, get into areas like top red within bloody 10 seconds of being able to do so. On rounds that Tide did well, they were more in the face of Elevate. They were pressuring them. They were making it harder to get into those critical positions. So that's probably what we're going to need to see from Fury. Things like this from Hajime. Doesn't seem like much, doesn't get anything, but who knows? That's the difference between getting an opening kill or not, and being able to try and just gain any advantage against a team like Elevate, which is so critical.
I totally agree. If Fury want to win this game, they need to disrupt that structure from Elevate. Mandy said it on the desk. I completely agree with her. Elevate are the best team in APAC when they're in equal, if not favorable, positions to close out rounds and to have a structure that works. And if they need to manipulate it just a little bit, they can. So it's up to Fury to disrupt it as much as possible. Early round, that is spawn peaks, that is contesting drops. Over towards Red Hatch, that's going to be a key position, not allowing Elevate to get that control for free. And that's what we're going to see largely. BG Man, for example, is in a good position in Lounge, those keeper barriers providing that additional protection and a bit of a buddy system being employed. So once Elevate feel ready to pressure this, they're going to have to deal with quite a bit of utility.
Yeah, I like the forward aggressive here from I9 and BG Man, right? It's just all about making sure Elevate don't get those critical positions, force them to use a lot of that utility early in trying to get into those positions rather than using the utility on site and clearing out site. I mean, this is a risky play here from BG Man, of course. If those keeper barriers do go down, he is kind of sitting out in the open at the moment. Oh, that's a risky peek from I9 as well. And he is just trying to, well, he did see the Rotero drop down. Flores was actually banned out last time by Elevate, electing to keep him in and now obviously pick and play him to try and clear out these kind of positions. But all of a sudden, guys, minute and 8 seconds. Elevate haven't even got into the building yet. They're still on the roof.
It's KAFE at its finest. That initial entry is a struggle. Mr. Punch has been lurking quite a bit down below for the majority of this round, but hasn't been able to get much done. Still has 2 nades, of course, in hand. I9 watching the drop, but gets caught off guard. Onigiri finds an opening. He played so well in the last Playday gone, particularly finding these key picks, and he does it again.
Yeah, but I'm wondering how Lycolis doesn't get the trade there. If you're sitting in Cocktail and you're not watching that cigar shot push straight through the doorway, I mean, unless it was just one of those moments where at the split second he looked away. They do lose Dark as well. BG Man has to make a play here, and he does. Onigiri goes down. We know how strong Onigiri is with that DMR here on KAFE. We saw it last week firsthand. Lycolis does come up clutch that time by getting the kill. But Sapper into bar finds 2. Suddenly advantage once again. Elevate now in a 3 versus 1. Only Hajime, and he's not even looking in the right spot. Elevate overwhelmed site. It was a little bit slow going. Not a bad defense from Fury, but in the end, they crumbled.
Yeah, it was slow. Elevate did a decent job with the utility available to finally clear those keeper barriers. Once those were dealt with, the cross on the push-through shop was much more difficult to hold, and that's where Elevate were able to find sort of that crack in the armor, and were able to exploit it. Sapper as well, we saw his POV. Fantastic observing by Sky, as always. He opened up the round towards the back end as well, so really well done. And Elevate doing a good job showing that despite Habana being banned out by Fury, they're still able to clear those barriers, because if it wasn't for Azami there, the round would have played out completely differently, and it would have been a lot easier for Elevate to get that control. They had to rely on other forms of utility outside of the X-Kairos from the Habana, the much more efficient way of clearing it to get the job done, but they were still able to do it. And yes, it was slow, it was steady, but it got the job done. And it'd be a disappointing feeling for Fury to open up a match, feeling as if they were quite close to being able to win out the round, and then it's sort of crumbling in that final phase.
Obviously, they change up the approach now. We go down to kitchen cooking here for the second round. So no repeat from Fury up on Bar Cocktail, and probably for good reason. The defense did fall apart. Full credit to Elevate. And that's one thing that is very much in the wheelhouse of Elevate and this team, that sort of mental fortitude of being able to stick with a round and not just throw it away because things aren't working out straight away. Okay, you got to put a bit more time into top red and getting that position, clearing out play around Piano, you know, dealing with those keeper barriers, having to use a bit of utility, having to maybe even push down into mining and play from there. Play into your Roteros, play for time, don't have to rush it, especially on a site like Bar Cocktail. And I think Elevate just did not panic at all, and that's why they were able to get that round win. I think a lot of other teams facing that particular defense of Fury probably don't win that round. So it's a full testament to where Elevate is at as a team. Obviously, a team looking to make it 3 wins in a row and maintain that top position, but this time, like Colas with the SMG-11, gets the headshot onto DCH outside, who had the diffuser as well. So that's a good start for Fury. Gives them a massive advantage here in the second round.
That's huge. A play from Elevate will now need to rotate across to pick that up. And obviously now a man down for the remainder of the push. 2 nades as well out of the hands of DCH. That is a really significant kill there for Fury. Elevate though, they'll get control up above. I'm assuming that's being facilitated by pre-placed drones. Pretty quick sweep, and Elevate know that time is of the essence, even more so as they need to try and find a pick, ideally, before they go for the execute. See those positions of Fury on the overhead. Sapper makes his way alongside the sledge. No real footprints to track as of yet. But time ticking down fast. Mr. Punch getting some vert pressure. Elevate still yet to reclaim that diffuser.
Yeah, minute left as well, as you said, time ticking away. Don't have those Geminis as well for entry help. Obviously still just trying to deal with this hatch, finally getting it open now, but 45 seconds left. They do have that freezer drop available. But in a 4 versus 5, Fury well and truly favored on site now for any kind of trade scenario. Drones still going out with such little time. I can't help but feel like this is just going to be a drop rush, hope for the best play from Elevate. That's generally not what they've been like this stage, but it may still work when you've got Onigiri on the DMR. Big kill onto Hajime. Oh, and they take out like Cola swinging out of VIP. Just don't need to be giving away that kind of position. He got a little bit overzealous and he gets punished for it. Good position here from BG Man. Lance attack. No, there's going to be another one swinging in as well from White Stairs. No! What's going on? Dark gets 2. Elevate crumble. It's like the last round, but in reverse. Mark has to stick it and he can't. He knows he's being watched, stalked. Fury take the round. And a slow round from Elevate is their demise in the end.
Yeah, decent shutdown there from Fury. Although praise still has to be given to Elevate to get it so close in the end. Their push late was still quite effective. The VIP position shut down. And then BG Man playing that coffee door. You do not want to be playing that with anything other than a shotgun. Was fortunate enough to get one, but then traded out at range. Mark then left in a pretty unwinnable position. Perhaps could have tried to stick it. Probably should have stuck it. But in the 2 versus 1, Fury make good on that early round advantage. And will make Elevate pay for a rare mistake.
Big round win for Fury. Elevate started with that opening kill as well. All things considered. And taking DCH off the board straight away. That also forced the diffuser down outside in a bit of an odd position. 1-1 we go here on Cafe. A good start. And somewhat similar sort of rounds. I will say, though, the recurring theme is, I think, Fury, at the moment, edging out the middle and start of these rounds. When we look at round 1, then round 2, I think their defense so far has looked pretty good. Elevate only really breaking it apart at the end of the opening round, and obviously getting pretty close at the end of the last round, but just couldn't quite with the man disadvantage. So that's, for me, the concern moving forward for Fury for the rest of this half is, will they be able to deal with the onslaught when it comes? They can seemingly deal with them at the start, but at the end where it matters, Elevate's still on top.
Fury have been naturally improving in that department, one of the few teams to have any roster changes heading in to this final stage of the year. And typically, a team that stays together longer will build that innate synergy, which is really critical late round, where often you don't have the time or the means to communicate absolutely everything that you want to or need to. You need to just have that feeling and that experience with your team to be able to pull off plays. And that's exactly what Elevate have shown us in the opening couple of Playdays. Over towards reading, though, for the third round. Elevate, for the most part, have been getting pretty decent control around the map, whether that be vert or even horizontal. Decent ease thus far. At least they did in the second round. This time, though, they'll be challenged up above, and we'll see how they deal with that. Mirror is in play. And there's mirror windows being used up above to monitor this push. Elevate will drone it out, but it's important that they're cleaner on this occasion and not give away a free pick like last round.
Yep. But, I mean, to be fair, there's only 90 seconds left in this round, so, I mean...
I love KAFE.
It's gone by actually pretty quick this particular round in terms of the starting phase as DCH makes his way to train, and rather freely as well. Might I add, got the kill onto Hajime just as we flicked away. That's the start that Elevate have needed off the back of that last round. I9 just barely surviving. But again, time will become a factor very, very quickly. 1 minute left. Advantage Elevate, and I9 low.
Elevate trying their best to negate that presence up above by going for a horizontal push through Train. Fury, off the back of that pick, have caught onto it. Then he guns trained in towards this fireplace position, but we know how good Elevate's executes are. They have the advantage this time. DCH still stalking.
Oh, what an angle from Lycolis. Dark, though, loses to Mr. Punch. Souls go out from Onigiri into that final push now with 30 seconds remaining. Dark does have diffuser. 90 position at the moment established through Elevate. Lycolis just sitting in laundry still. Spotlight stairs as well for the side of Fury. They have got some really good positions under lock and key. What an angle from Lycolis here, but it's Zappa from above. Drops down, traded immediately though. Fury still with numbers. Now on a 2 versus 2. Mark going for the plant. Who's going to make the play? It's Onigiri, of course it is. On the DMR. Now it's just the low HP I9, who probably doesn't want to be in a battle through the soft wall. Low health, but so is Mark. He did land a tag. Mark gets away behind the bomb chassis, gets the superior angle. Elevate once again, 3 rounds in a row. Just the superior team in the crunch.
And again, I find it very difficult to fault Elevate's opponents on this occasion. Fury, yes, they bled that early pick, but it was Elevate's ability to just read really well into the setup. They knew that Chain was the weakness. They hit it really well. It negated the bulletproof cameras, the nitros, the vertical pressure up above. Basically, the entire plan for Fury got disrupted. Elevate, off the back of the entry, made things even easier for themselves, and it's just as clinical as even in that 2v2. Onigiri reading 90. He had the perfect cross. He was always going to win those duels, and that's exactly what he did. It's another great round from Elevate. 2-1 on the first rotation, so not too bad for an attacking side. And to be completely frank, I'm expecting this to lean slightly defender-sided with Azami in play, Mirror in play. I don't think there's too many excuses for the defense to not get 2 rounds per rotation, and Fury have failed on this occasion.
I think KAFE, just in its nature, is always probably going to lean towards the defenders, even in the current meta.
5 seconds remaining.
In saying that, though, when we do look back to last week, Elevate did find 4 attacking rounds. They have some strength on this map. I9, risky position here at Bakery. Might just find one. Might also give away his life. Oh, had he just been watching that angle, he would have got the kill onto Mr. Punch, but ifs and buts aren't going to get you the kills. But I like this, though. Oh, I'll stop providing a little bit of that visual cover. But I like this from I9. I like this from Fury. It has worked out in some rounds, but not the majority of them. Obviously, we saw them get an opening kill, something similar in the second round. But again, aggressive positioning. Top red stairs now for I9. Everywhere that Elevate looking for an entry. It's not going to hit the mark, though. They're too good for that to fall for Nitrocell through top red hatch.
I don't mind that too much from I9. Yes, the Nitro goes to waste, but we've seen them in the pockets of dead players in the past, so you may as well use it at some point. And the philosophy from Fury is not bad. They know if they lose an early pick, the chances of winning the round of course, naturally against any team go down dramatically, but the state elevator in, I'd almost go as far as to label it unwinnable. Chances are less than 10% if you lose that early pick, the way that elevators are setting themselves up for executes time and time again and then being able to produce results. So don't mind it too much. Doesn't net anything. We'll see how much time Fury can waste. This is already feeling faster than the last upstairs attack. Still half the round to go. Elevate are finally getting boots on the ground. Last time, if my memory serves me correctly, it didn't feel like they had much control until about 45 seconds to go.
Yeah, control has actually been somewhat of an issue in this match for Elevate, but even through the lack of control, they're still finding ways to engage on site and win out those battles. Big factor of that, Sapper and Onigiri are both just switched on. The two best players really on this team. The punch cord a little bit here, looking to just try and push into that default position. And they trading bullets, but only for health. No life or death happening there. Minute left, and Onigiri, freebie. I9. Just not in the best position. Full white doesn't matter for Onigiri. Elevate push into sight. And they will be winning this round. They'll be taking a 3-1 lead. Barring an absolute collapse here. Yeah, they've got this one under lock and key. Like Colas stuck in cocktail. He is surrounded. He is being hunted down. Even the drone is after him. In a 1 versus 5, Mark will get the plant down. Elevate will get the round win. A flawless round at that. It started with Onigiri. It ends with Onigiri. He is a difference maker.
That, to me, encapsulates a team that knows how to attack. If anyone at home wants to know how to attack in Rainbow Six, especially against competent defenders who are roaming, just watch that round back. There is so much to take away from it. The Oryx there under so much pressure. The information from Elevate absolutely spotless. They knew exactly where that player was, yet they didn't rush in, try and find a pick. They timed it well. They countered the vert. Onigiri hits a really nice shot on the Fury defenders trying to protect the Oryx. Now, arguably the Oryx probably should have been a little bit proactive and maybe even a player down white, for example. I don't know, offer a little bit of support. But it is, again, difficult to fault Fury. That was just clinical from Elevate, step by step, going through the process and just snowballing that round. To me, this is honestly feeling more convincing than the Tide game at the moment. It's still relatively early days. We're yet to see Elevate on the defense, but I've got to say I'm very, very happy for Elevate with what I'm seeing at the moment. They are, again, playing like a top team.
Last time these two teams played on KAFE against each other, 31st of July, 6-8 win for Elevate. It was hotly contested and somewhat similar bands as well, but look, Elevate right now, their form in APAC South is clearly the best it's probably ever been. And what happens outside of APAC South, obviously the Operation League, is not something you want to play bad at, guys, but it's not APAC South. It hasn't got a major on the line. This is Elevate's focus, their primary focus, and on a different level here. Hard to see them dropping this game. Fury need to win this round. Kitchen Cooking unlocks after it being their only round win that they've had so far. They must get this to 3-2 if they're going to have any hope of taking this map.
That is one hell of a shield setup from Fury. No one even playing it. I guess it absorbs some util, but the main setup behind Cupcake, as you would expect. Still 2 minutes to go in the round. Elevate have sped up proceedings gradually over the course of this map, and KAFE can be one where it takes a little bit to warm into. Expecting the pacing, though, to ramp up once more. Sapper, it's again on the Monty. That's Hajime. This is the Nitro. Some nerves setting in here for Fury, making mistakes. You cannot make mistakes.
That's the
DCH
round.
will shut you down. Again, finds an entry. Hajime now for Trey, doesn't land the shots. Again, jittery. And now he's isolated.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately now trying to make up for a mistake, leads to another one, and it all just crumbles.
It's over.
That opening kill, opening up the front door for Elevate to just walk straight in through Bakery, and once that Bakery position is vulnerable, the Montaigne can push into prep, can push into sight, and it's just all GG, like this round is. Elevate really just starting to pull away from Fury, and maybe just pulling away from the entirety of this league. Looking to go for 3 wins in a row to go to 9 points to be well and truly clear on top. Remember, guys, this is 1v2 on the standings at the moment. Timeout, Fury.
And they need to. The only way Fury salvage this game is if they go 4-2. I do not see a world in which a 5-1's recoverable. And again, I anticipate defense to be slightly favored, a 2-1 rotation. So they need to find the round here, Fury. Their match on the line, maybe even the stage. They're still in the running if they lose this in regulation, of course, but makes things difficult if other teams around them have a good day. So they know that the stakes are high. But not to focus too much here on Fury because, to be honest, they're not playing particularly poorly. It's just Elevate. They are at the centerpiece of this game. One of my biggest vices with KAFE is the pacing, right? It can be so slow, so tedious, and it was for maybe the first round or two, but Elevate have completely ramped it up. Really liked that last round, cleared any utility they needed to, get DCH on entry, he finds a player sleeping, then get them on tiered. It's pretty standard, straightforward stuff, but they're doing it really well. And they're a team that excels at it. They're a team that are excelling at it, especially here in the third stage. And I do not see them slowing down.
There was a period in the second half of Tide v Elevate last week, the opening half of that second half, where Tide were able to get a couple of attacking round wins themselves against Elevate, and their defense, to be honest, did not look as good as their attack. Elevate's attack so far, both weeks of KAFE, has looked very, very clean, precise, methodical, utilizing time. They don't rush themselves. If it does go down the last 20, 30 seconds, that's fine with them. They'll trade. They'll back themselves in, especially with Onigiri on the DMR. Zappa as well, 6 and 2. And so the question for me is, if Fury close out this round here, bring it 4-2, is Elevate's defense going to be just a little bit vulnerable to the point where maybe Fury can bring it back to 4-4, somewhat similar to what Tide was able to achieve last week? That's, for me, the win condition now for Fury moving forward. Have to win this round, have to bank on Elevate having a rather sloppy second half. So, like, Colas gets an opening kill here in the 6th, as happened basically in the second round, the only round that Fury have won. So big early advantage on reading Fireplace, 5v4. Must-win round now for Fury.
It's so important to stress that this round is critical. Don't want to discount Fury out from the entire match just yet. Elevate on the back foot. They didn't look great last time on that attack downstairs. They lost an early man. See how they go this time. Vertical pressure good once more. That hasn't been much of an issue. It's going to really come down to a player like Mr. Punch, for example. On Vert, maybe Mark. Find a pick. Elevate must bring this back to a 4 versus 4 to really excel their chances of being able to win this round. The question will be, does Fury give that opportunity? There are roamers up above, and Elevate will be looking to contest.
Especially when you take into account the fact that Elevate are rather precise with their attack, but understanding that they're down a player, they do have to move a little bit more swiftly, take out that 90 cam, get into mining, eventually get that train control as well, and basically end up trying to emulate the way that they attacked this last time, which they did so successfully in that third round. This is Elevate's strength, though. They get into their positions and then they strike. Largely, once again, ignoring above. Fury still playing these positions, though. Mark now looking to open up this train wall. 55 seconds left.
And using that reading drone hole. Seen that previously. Good information. Elevate need to find the pick, though. They want to be able to win this round. Fury doing a great job just holding down the line. Not exposing themselves and dark pounces.
I think Fury pounce now for the win as well this round. It looks as if that 4-2 half will eventuate. Similar to Tide and Elevate last week. Nade, it's okay, but it's not enough. And then DCH loses his life anyway to I9. The only Mark now on a 1 versus 5. But White stares and immediately dies out to PG Man. A flawless round to end the half. For Fury, they needed it. They desperately needed it. It might not be enough, though. It would have to end up being an attacker-sided KAFE, which we probably estimate not to be. Still, give themselves a chance.
Siege is a funny game. It was only 4 minutes ago where we're raising the question as to whether or not Fury can keep their head above water, and now a potential victory or even overtime re-enters the conversation.
Attackers need to locate and defuse the bomb.
But we're entering the unknown. We guess, we anticipate a slightly defender-sided game. For example, APAC North sits at 51% defender win rate. And the bans, to me, suggest it should lean towards the defense, but not everything that should happen does happen, especially in APAC South. So we'll hold that thought for now. Mirror in play. Some really, really interesting setup here from Sapper. One over towards that mining corridor and anticipating the second up above in washrooms. That's to directly counter any horizontal play here. Fury, maybe forcing their hand elevator, trying to do, send them up above.
5 seconds to go.
Maybe where they're in their element a little bit more.
Attackers are heading out to the bomb.
But what does Fury have now on the attack? Second half. Challenger v the champions, and the champions right now lead. So far have clearly been the more dominant and better team, but as you said, guys, Siege can be funny at times, and these momentum swings can be so crucial. Off the back of a timeout, Fury win the final round of the half, sets them up here to start this second half, and if their attack, well, is going to be somewhat chaotic and fast, similar to what we saw from Tide last week, it may just work. Think back to last week on KAFE. What gave Tide their success was fast pace, chaos, cause confusion. Don't play into that standard style of Siege that Elevate want to play. Give them something different. Something that they can't predict and play into.
BG, man, with the Roteros, an important job with mute band out.
Oh, this is so aggressive.
Dark now with the creep. Sees a player cocktail.
He's in. They've got no idea. He's gone all the way. This is something different. So much information. Should get the free kill. Oh, the timing! He saw the foot of Mark standing up. Repositioned to the crosshair in anticipation of said position, only for Mark to drop back down, that being the difference maker. I9 makes the exact same rotate. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Mark goes down this time to I9, and then he gets a second. The positioning's perfect, but missed the punch. Swing, shotgun. Now 3 versus 3. Oh, what an angle from BG, man. And Fury again have the advantage. Do they hold on to it this time, though? We'll see. Minute left, but it's a fast-paced Fury. Something we didn't really see as much from Elevate.
Elevate probably could have forfeited up above. The buck was down. BG, man, with another. DCH has been good this game, but now he needs to find 3 picks. 45 seconds for the attack.
I've already put this one down as a Fury round win. Don't make me look silly here, DCH. 40 seconds, though. Time he does have, but not a lot of it. Fuser in the hand of Lycolis. Makes go out. Oh, he'll get one here. That's a freebie.
Oh,
That's
no.
the Fuser down, but there's the trade from Hajime. And that is a quick-fire trade. We'll get the beautiful reaction. Oh, my days. Straight into the smoke. You love to say that. That's game sense, game awareness, and understanding as to where your opponent is going to be. 4-3 is the score line now. And yeah, that's that peak from Dark. He played that well, guys. It's just unfortunate that Mark dropped down as he pushed back.
Look, Siege is a funny game, but it's probably one of the more cruel games you can play as well. Decent response from Elevate, trying to find trades. Missed a punch, though. Extended his visit a little bit too long. Left DCH ultimately in that 1 versus 3. A position in which he was realistically never going to win. Now Fury, they make a statement. They didn't even get the opening pick that time, and again Elevate making some good trades. That's a very, very positive round for Fury.
The intriguing thing for me is just the manner in which Fury sort of attack into Elevate, sending the player creeping through bar, you know, trying to create rather than establish. And when we look at the attack for Elevate, it's establish. That's the sort of the word for them. Establish control, establish position, establish objectives. For Fury, it's create. Create an opportunity, sneaking onto site, trying to find that opening kill. So it's a difference in the way that both teams are sort of wanting to unlock these sites here. Onigiri, well, he's trying to just find a freebie, not to be. And it's somewhat, you know, what we sort of spoke about last week with Tide in the way that they were attacking Elevate. And I think we got to a 4-4 scoreline. We were like, hang on a second. Elevate's struggling with dealing with ranked gameplay, which is essentially what Tide sort of brought out. Eventually, they took their time out. They dealt with it, as a top team usually does. And I'm almost getting that sense of deja vu here, especially if Fury win this 8th round. I would say what will follow is an Elevate timeout and then dealing with it and understanding what they need to do to adjust. It's almost carbon copy of last week.
Elevate did win out, though, on that occasion, ultimately. So it's not alarm bells and sirens just yet for Elevate, but makes the game interesting nonetheless. So great for us. Like I said before, KAFE can be mundane at times, but Elevate showing that they can produce entertaining games nonetheless. Fury looking for control now, over towards Red Stairs. Pretty heavily contested from Elevate back in Lounge. No one on that repel to the south, so DCH can roam freely, but Dark is good for 2. Lines them up. Much better than last round, and Elevate in the dirt.
Yeah. But again, it's that same kind of concept where there's that firepower, there's that attack into Elevate's defense, and it just seemingly works. If you take your time and you play into the strategy and the positioning, Elevate will come out ahead. Have to keep the foot on the pedal here if you're Fury for the remainder of this half, even off the back of a timeout that I assume will be following this 8th round if Elevate cannot bring it back. 3v5, so difficult. The one good thing, Washroom's position still in the control of Elevate with a minute left. So that's still a big power play position that has to be won. I9 just finds a kill. It's Onigiri, though. Forget the power position. Sapper's not even on site. Mr. Punches in Cocktail in a 2 versus 5. Just don't have the positions. They don't have the numbers. I don't think they have a chance here. I smell 4-4. It's brewing, guys. It's in the kitchen. You can smell it from here. Unless Mr. Punch goes big, and he does it, and they were already on site. They were already surrounding him. Where's that timeout, Elevate? Come on. Show it to Daddy.
Oh.
Oh, well, now it's
I don't know who Daddy is. It's definitely not me.
Well, it's not you. That's me. It's definitely me. They don't call it though, guys. All right. So okay, I went in. I put all my chips in, all in on the Elevate timeout off the back of that round. Can you at least back me up and say the pro should have taken it? Because this is looking a little bit scary now. 3 rounds in a row.
They took it late last time and it worked out. Look, I have faith in Laxing, right? He's been around the scene as long as anyone. So I'm going to put faith in him. If it was me, probably. But I think Elevate have to have a second crack here of the site. Try and get something on this early rotation. It's been very concerning, though. Fury, smell blood in the water. And we set the expectations, you know, we look at the numbers, we look at the form guide, we look at the operator bands, we look at the map, and we go, this should be Elevate edging out. Of course, it's first versus second, so we're not expecting a huge victory here for Elevate, but it should be a win nonetheless.
Yep.
Fury currently subverting those expectations. Potentially still a while to go in this match, but credit to them. Really putting in a good battle, and if they end up getting the lead here, we'll see what Elevate's response is.
I will say something that Fury have done this week that Tide did not do last week is win 3 in a row. So they've been able to establish that. We were at the exact same position though last week, guys. It was 4-4, Tide Elevate. And as sometimes it generally goes, you get to 4-4, you think you got a close game, and then bam, one team just wins 3 in a row. And that's exactly what Elevate did from here. I do believe they did take the timeout at 4-4. I could be wrong on that. Maybe they took it at 5-4 after they won the round. I can't quite recall. But ultimately, Elevate were able to close out even after Tide had won 4 of the last 6 rounds. At the moment, for Fury, they've won, obviously, the last 3 rounds in a row. So somewhat different, but same.
Okay, Daddy.
Well, obviously, one thing that Fury need to keep doing, though, is keep up the pressure, right? They need to keep being aggressive. They need to keep trying to find kills early in these rounds. Don't bring it down to the last 30, 40 seconds. That's going to play into Elevate's game. In saying that, knowing that, of course, Elevate may look to get into more aggressive positions here. But again, look at how swift Dark moves. They don't hesitate. They don't waste time. Spray a little bit iffy, but it's fine. The end result is exactly what he was after, and he finds it onto Sapper, who's gone suddenly very cold. Very, very cold indeed. 6 and 6 now from a 6-2 start. They get rid of Onigiri. The 2-star man for Elevate are exploding at the moment. They're going supernova, courtesy of Fury. But Mark with a big kill onto I9 might just hold that momentum. Big swing, doesn't come off, got to get the trade and does. Still, advantage for Fury in a 3 versus 2, a chance to take the lead against Elevate.
Minute to go, the pace slows. Missed punch over towards top white. Mark with the pixel underneath the drop. Good cross. Elevate with good positions, but a man down. Fury can trade this out. Player on the skylight as well, smokes in hand. Fury might go for another smoke exit.
Does quiet down though. It probably does help out Elevate. What feels like maybe the first time in this second half, there is a bit of quiet, a bit of peace. Next kill, so important. I can't help but feel that even a kill the way of Elevate here might just give them the advantage. How does Lycolis survive both nades? He was already so low on health. 20 seconds left. He'll go back and try and get that plant down. I think you've got to get BG Man a little bit more forward, playing a little too far back at the moment. Mark, obviously wary of that drop down as well from the skylight. He sees the drop, punch gets Lycolis. There goes BG Man. It's falling apart, it's falling to pieces. Hajime into red time here. Does he have time to find the kill? No, he does not. Elevate have won the round, guys. Elevate have won from seemingly nowhere. They still won away from Fury. Fury looked head and shoulders above in this round, and it didn't matter because when it came down to crunch time, Elevate rose to the occasion.
Two key takeaways for me from that round. One, I think I have underestimated the ban phase here. The mute ban from Fury is doing them a whole world of good on these attacks. The roamers from Elevate are having an awful time. You can see just how many yellow pings and how many drones are flying around. So much for Elevate to manage, so props to Fury, they're abusing that well. Secondly, Hajime on the skylight. Man, what are you doing? The answer, nothing. The smoke's too late, didn't hit the mark. You're on skylight, you're not watching anything, you're not having an impact. Fury did not play into their man advantage. Elevate had no right winning that round. Their positions ultimately weren't that great if Fury sent it and actually traded it properly. Instead, they went for a half-fake Texi. Didn't work out well, and they do a good job in eventually closing it out. 5-4 the scoreline. Elevate finally getting a round in the second half.
Yeah, and all the credit there, obviously, for Elevate going into that round. They don't take the timeout. They back themselves in. It still was all Fury in terms of momentum at the start of the round, guys. They got the opening kills. They were pushing in. They were swinging, but it just slowed. And when it slowed, that favored.
I think Xenox may have lagged out of me, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no, he might be back. I don't know. Xenox, hello.
I'm everywhere, mate.
Oh, there you are. I look over and you're frozen in time. But you may have been taken aback by how good Fury.
Maybe I just wasn't moving.
Elevate. Yeah, you were very still. You were very, very still. Anyway, we move forward. Mark now, he won't want to be standing still. Roaming in Cigar Lounge, pressure from the buck down red hatch. I made comment last round about the droning from Fury. It has been relentless, it has been efficient, and the entries from Fury, namely Dark, have been having one hell of a field day. Farming up Elevate on the roam, which is a sentence you won't often hear said. This time though, not quite the same. With 2 minutes to go, the pacing has slowed.
Rough game for Hajime so far, 1-6, but it's not all about the KD at times. In fact, that one kill that he did find was a massive trade. Helped secure a round not too long ago. Close to 90 seconds left. I9 goes for the creep, but guess what? This time they've learned. They have learned. They will have no shame on them now. The frost mat will be the demise of I9. They did it too many times, guys, to get through once more. Dark says, well, okay, well, that's one frost mat gone. Surely there's not a second upwards through. And he may yet just still go for a little roam through bar. Well, Fury are very, very thirsty. They just want to drink. Hajime will get free intel with that Rotero. Dark will swing off that, surely. No. Bit of pressure to the right of him. Now he swings into backstore. No one here. He wants an even better angle. Bit of damage as well to Mr. Punch. Well played from Dark. Patience is a virtue. 48 seconds left in this 10th round. A critical round. But they lost BG Man at the same time.
Elevate edging towards map point. It's been messy for Fury, but Dark's still alive. Probably the best player on the side of Fury in this map so far. Mark pushed back, good util. No one on the window though, the find pick. Control though, forfeited. Lycolis now. Oh, that's nice. That's on a Geary shutdown, slap down. Don't often see that. Control up above now for Fury, but only 15 seconds remains.
Time, the biggest factor now, the biggest thing against Fury. Elevate are still in really good positions as well to throw one more sort of counter punch as well. As Mark falls down, he actually falls down for good. Big kill from Hajime. Maybe the best time to stand up here, but he can't check behind. Dark loses out to Sapper, pushes in looking for that default plant, but it's actually Lycolis elsewhere. And Sapper's maybe just lost a little bit of control of this game. What are you looking at, Hajime? What are you looking at? You're looking at a round win for Fury. Oh, timing is everything, the aim of the game. And suddenly Fury tie it up one more time, 5-5, but this moment is something I9 would not want to look back to.
Yeah, I couldn't help but laugh. The amount of impactful Frostmat picks we have seen in APAC South this year is ridiculous. Fury, though, doing a good job to steady the ship a little bit. And then a millisecond perfect plant for Lycolis. Gets off it just in time. Elevate probably began cheering, thinking that kill would be rewarded, but it wasn't. And Fury, much like they did in round 6 where they needed a round, they do it again. Just keeping their head above water, just applying enough pressure to elevate to see those cracks emerge.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best way to sort of phrase it, right? Are there those cracks emerging? And I think the answer is yes. You take into account the overall picture here, that it's now 4 of the last 5 rounds have gone the way of Fury. A little bit of control being established for what is an attacker-sided KAFE, guys. How times have changed. Once the snooze fest of almost guaranteed 4-2 defensive halves, maybe even 5-1, have now changed to largely a lot of success for attackers. Oh, and by the way, this time, Elevate will finally call timeout.
And I've also just seen relaxing as well. I'm interpreting his tweet as he has lost his internet connection, or he did lose it. I'm assuming it's back now if he's talking to them during the timeout. Hopefully we can get some clarity on what exactly has happened there soon. But a good opportunity for Elevate to use that timeout they had pocketed. Very similar vibe to that Tide match again, where the scores are close. And Elevate sensing the importance of match point. Again, if you're maybe new to CG Esports, you still get awarded at least 1 point if you push a game to overtime. 6-6 is the scoreline in which it does go forward to OT. So essentially the team that wins this next round at least banks something. And we have seen Fury, probably the best example of a team that loses so many games, 7-5, in which if they push them to overtime, they'd find themselves in much better positions in the standings. So Fury know what it's like to be in this position.
Remembering, of course, no playoffs, no finals. It's just 6 best of ones to make it to the major. Every match so important when it comes to these points. The winner of this round will have a chance to get all 3. The loser will not. And provided Fury win this game, Guz, in regulation, they will go to top spot on the standings after 3 Playdays. They will go above Elevate. And they will have the head-to-head against Elevate. Potentially later on in the stage, Dark's going to land a second, and he does! The entries from Dark this game have been on point. He cracks double digits. Fury edging closer to the potential upset of the stage. The undefeated Elevate. Plus 9 round differential after 2 Playdays. Elevate. The team that almost looked assured as keeping that #1 position for the entire stage might just give it up after 3 Playdays.
The Monty as well being used to great effect. We've seen Elevate use it on their attacks down below. Can they counter it? So far, it's been a resounding no. Dark has been good. He has been really, really good. He's had a couple of moments, a couple of shaky moments here or there, but cannot understate the impact he's had in this match. Typical players from Elevate, you would expect to be strong on the entry, struggling to respond. Fury now can relax for a little bit. Get the fundamentals down pat.
Is that what they want, though? I don't know if that's actually what they want. The last time things slowed down for them, they lost the round from a seemingly winnable position. Get moving, force the issue early. And yeah, this is perfect. With Montang as well in play, you can, of course, get a little bit more of that information. Dark, so low on health, has to be careful, of course, but they do find a kill onto DCH anyway. Surely they can't lose it from here. And even I9 gets in on the party, gets in on the fun. Fun for Fury, a flawless round. And now they have the chance to get all 3 points. And what would be arguably the biggest win that this team has seen for a long time, guys. Maybe all year long. Match point, Fury.
Huge round from Fury. Didn't look like they were going to lose it from that opening phase. Quick 2K. Rolled it on very nicely with the Monty pressure. At least 1 point banked for Fury. Elevate. Back foot for the first time this stage. Looking to edge out for an OT. Fury subverting expectations in this match. He looked poised for yet another Elevate victory. The team that has looked so difficult to beat all stage have looked great overseas as well. Now they're struggling. Fury have played out of their minds in this match so far, and they will be hungry to close it in regulation.
10 seconds left.
The question is, though, closeout time. Fury, how often have they been in this kind of position, Guz?
Attackers must locate
Not often is the answer. Generally, they're the team that loses 7-5. They're not able to force the OT. Well, here's their chance now to put the shoe on the other foot and to close it out 7-5 in their favor. To collect the 3 points, to go top of the standings after 3 play days. They play GG next week, and I'll say after that, then they've got a break. So you win this, you beat GG, and you have got 1 foot heading to the major. I'm saying it there.
Yep.
It's in front of you. Chance, a really big one. And for Elevate now, it's all about damage limitation here. You can't get the 3, but you can still get 2. You get 2, that's 8 points from 3 games. That's pretty darn good. A lot to fight for.
They'll lose their title of the flawless run thus far. But they will well and truly keep their major aspirations alive. A loss here won't shatter them, but it certainly makes things interesting. BG man with the drop.
Oh, there's
Pressure
a shoulder
in
peeking.
shot. The shots don't land for either player though, but there's so many pings. So much information available here to Fury. Again, playing nicely into that mute ban. Can they play off it? Can BG hit the shot he does through the wall and marks down?
I think it's happening. You can almost just sense the belief building in Fury. The realization of how far this team has come from stage 1 to stage 2 and its improvements to stage 3 where they now contest and contend. 1 minute and 15 seconds away from glory. 3 points of glory against their rivals. But the job's not done yet. Not when Onigiri and Sapper are still alive. They've gone quiet in this game, guys, as the game has gone on, but they're always a factor. BG Man finds a second, must win this one, Mr. Punch, and does. Takes down Dark. He is stoppable after all. 50 seconds left. Fury still with a 1-man advantage.
And still farming information. 5 drones up. It has been the story of this half so far. Fury having information, but then being able to action on it. This isn't the Fury we've known from the past. This is a completely rejuvenated roster. And they are 30 seconds away from being able to close out this match. It's another flank. Mr. Punch forced to go for a play like Colas elsewhere. Mr. Punch on drone now needs to move.
This is what dreams are made of, taking down your arch rivals to ascend into the top position of your league, and they will just about do it. Sapper, headshot to Hajime, got a second one, but it's not enough to stop them. Nothing can seemingly stop Fury at the moment. They take top spot away from Elevate. And to the namesake of their opponents, they themselves elevate into top position of APAC South.
What a moment for Fury. Their rivals for the longest time have fallen here in APAC South. A regulation win, no less. And Fury now